Bonjour, welcome back to my channel. I'm not French, I don't know why I did that. So today's video, as promised, is a audition prep video, how to get ready for an audition, and the steps that I take, the things that I do to ensure that I'm ready. I had 2 auditions last week and 1 the week before, so I was taking notes during prepping for them so that I would know what I wanted to say about how I prep for auditions. So I'm going to take it step by step, things that I do, and things that I've heard are great that I don't necessarily do, but that I think would be helpful. So the first thing when you get your breakdowns or your sides, if we're really quite beginner here, I'm not sure if we are, sides are small chunks of the script that you will get that feature your character. And they'll be kind of, you'll get a couple scenes from all over the place in the script. So you don't always know exactly what's going on. But you have to deduct as much as you can from what you get. Did I just break? Also, before I started filming this, I ripped the blinds off of the window. I was trying to pull up the blinds and they were like really difficult to pull up, and I was like, that's strange. And so I just like really tugged and down they came. Sorry, Mom. Anyway, so you get your sides, and the first thing you want to do is read everything. So there's usually portions that are crossed out because they're not important or not relevant. Read it anyways. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with it, just read it anyways. Knowledge is power in this situation. The more knowledge you have, the better. Read everything. Something that I've been starting to do more frequently that I've heard other actors do, if you're an actor on casting workbook, and you submit for a role, and if you have an account, which I totally recommend getting, it's like probably, I think like $50 a year, but super worth it. That way you can see all the breakdowns when they come out. You can also see the sides usually for every other character that they're auditioning. So like, read them, because sometimes your character's mentioned in other characters' sides, which is super cool, because then you're like, oh, I had no idea my character's a psycho, or like just little insights that you can get along the way. After I've done that, I've read everything that I can possibly read about it. I look at the actual email that I've gotten, and I look at all of the people involved in the project. So the director, producers, like everyone, production managers, casting directors, and I just kind of do my research on them. You don't have to like go crazy, but sometimes it's cool. You find out like, oh wow, that person directed like my favorite movie, or this person produced this movie with my favorite actor, or it seems like they're kind of going for this tone. They always seem to cast these types of people. So, again, knowledge is power. It's just good to know. Who knows? Maybe you'll be able to strike up a conversation with a director because you're like, oh, I noticed that you directed this and I love it. And they're like, cool, this person has some knowledge about me. That feels good for my ego. You never know. But like, skim their information. See if there's anything that you're like, any common link between you two, basically. I like to do that. And I just feel like it helps me feel a little more prepared when I come into the room. Now for the actual work, the first thing that I like to do is I get my sides and I get my notebook and I write all of my lines out and I say them out loud as I'm writing them. And I just write all of my lines. I ignore everything else, and that's just a memorization thing for me. I don't really look at that notebook after. It's the process of physically writing out the lines that helps me memorize, like major. It really helps me. That's a nice memorization technique for me. And then another thing, which I read in an Audrey Hepburn book, is apparently she used to, every night before bed, read her lines, and in the next morning she'd wake up and she would have them. And like, I swear to you, if you're having trouble memorizing your lines, let them be the last thing you see before you go to bed. Don't look at your phone after, don't watch TV after. Like right before you're about to fall asleep, read your lines, like really read them, go to sleep. And I like, at least for myself, I wake up and I like have them. So write them down, say them out loud, read them before bed. Okay, so your process is done. You've got your lines memorized-ish, great. Again, as I talked about in my previous video, memorizing your lines is not the be-all and end-all. What's more important is that you know where your character is going in the scene. So what I like to do is start with an intention for the scene. So say it's a girl in a fight with her best friend because her best friend stole something from her. The intention in my scene is to get that item back from the best friend. Now, there's so many different ways you can get it back with force, you can get it back with kindness, you can get it back with manipulation. There's so many different things. So set your intention. I want to get this, let's say it's a shirt. I want to get this shirt back from my friend, and that's my intention. And so at the beginning, I'm going to be really nice to her and really sweet, but as I see that she's not going to give me this shirt back, my character evolves and changes, and then I just get angry. And that is an interesting performance to watch. So set your intention and then give yourself a journey. So nobody wants to see a scene that starts at level 10 and stays at level 10 the whole time. It's exhausting. So give yourself an emotional journey to go on. And I know that seems really like, okay, that should be fairly simple. But then you get a script and you're like, okay, this scene is I work at a grocery store and I'm like scanning bananas. How do I give myself an emotional journey? It's all about making little moments big moments, whether it's, I have 2 lines and I'm scanning bananas. I'm gonna flirt with this guy. I'm gonna make this like, I'm this cashier that's gonna kind of brighten his day. Or like, maybe I don't wanna be at work that day, so I'm in a terrible mood. You just have to make a strong choice. And that brings me to the next part, which is making strong choices in your audition. This is something that I struggle with, like really, really struggle with. I think it's because I read a script and I get a very vivid picture in my mind of how it should be. And it's typically as written. It's typically, for example, the audition was a woman who was organizing an event and she was meeting the guy who was donating like all of the money for the event for the first time in person. And she's kind of like gushing and very excited and grateful. And I knew, because there were like 20 girls auditioning for this part. And I was like, 18 out of these 20 are gonna do something that's pretty similar to what's on the page. They're gonna be gushing and so happy and so excited to meet this guy and thank you so much. You have no idea what you're doing for the kids. It's so wonderful. And so I was like, what can I do? Like, what is a bold choice that I can make that's really gonna make her different? Because the fear with actors is that I have to give them what they want. I have to give them what they've written. And that isn't always the case, because if you make a strong choice, not only do you stand out from everybody else who did the same thing, but they can always say like, interesting. Okay, that's not what we were going for. Will you try it this way? And then they can direct you and see how you do it. But making that strong choice shows not only that you're thinking more than everybody else in that room because you've decided to take it off the page and turn it into your own thing, but also that you're capable of doing it different ways and you're able to work with them and kind of change it up. So once you've read your script and you feel comfortable enough with it and you've made your, you have what you've decided is your intention, make a strong choice with it. Honestly, like you read about, like, for example, Robin Williams, when he was auditioning for Mork and Mindy, went into the audition and did it sitting on his head. He went onto the chair and he turned himself upside down and he read it upside down. Now, it wasn't written that way. It nowhere on the script said he comes in and sits upside down on the chair. But he thought, look at all these schmucks coming here to audition for the part that I want. I gotta do something. I gotta do something to make them take notice. And they can be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, sit on your ass, man. But they were like, that guy, he's funny. He's got his own thing going on and he can probably add to the show. So that's, one instance where it paid off. And it's not always going to pay off. Sometimes they're going to be like, meh, no, we like the girl who did it normal. We like the girl who did it by the book. Whatever. But honestly, as an actor especially, that's how you can help yourself grow. The next tip for audition prep: do your scene with an actual other person, because it's so different than you just doing it in front of the mirror. And that way you actually get to hear the lines back and it actually becomes like a thing, So read with someone out loud, even if they're not an actor, but best if they are, because then they can probably give you help too. And if it's a big audition, like, totally invest in the coaching. If you know a good acting coach in your area, maybe it's a teacher, that you went to an acting school at, or another actor in the city, If it's a big enough role, I would say get a coaching, because it's going to give you different perspective, it's going to challenge you, and it's going to help you get better. And like, there's no reason why you shouldn't. I mean, the main deterrent is it costs money. But if you booked that part, it's worth it. So just to go over the steps that I take once more, get the script, read every single word on the script, including the ones that are crossed out, find all of the people involved that I can, do a little research on them, see if we have any common ties, write down all of my lines and say them out loud. Then I start really working it, trying it different ways, setting my intention, trying to figure out a journey that my character is going to go on that's going to make it interesting for them to watch. Next, I'm going to get a coaching if it's big enough, if it's like important enough that I think it warrants getting a coach and spending money on it if I need to, and reading it out loud with someone, regardless of if it's a paid coach or it's just a friend. Getting that actually alive, bringing it to life. So here's the hardest part. After you've done all of your prep and you've made your strong choice and you know how you want it to go, scrap it all and do it a different way. Pick a different intention. Pick a different way that you're going to do it. Pick a different journey. Do it 3 or 4 different ways, because you have no idea what that casting director is going to ask you in the room, and they might ask you to like totally do it completely different from how you've rehearsed it. And this is kind of what I talked about in my last video. If you guys want to check that out, I'll link it here. But that was just about how to actually book the audition, things you can do in the room. And one of the main things is be malleable, be flexible, be able to do whatever they want you to do. So it's really difficult for actors sometimes, especially when they've done coaching and especially when they've like worked a long time and really cemented what they want. It's hard for them when they hear a casting director say like, meh, let's do it this way. And then they're like, I thought I had it right. And it's like, there is no right. It's whatever they want, right? So yeah, a really good thing I'm gonna link. I'll have the name and everything here, but it's the actor from season 2 of Stranger Things. If you guys are watching that, great show, right? I can't believe I don't remember his name. His audition tape, because it's just like, he just totally does what he wants and flies off the handle, and like it booked him the role. And that'll show you that he made a really bold choice that could have been totally shot down. They could have been like, dude, what are you doing? Like, that's too over the top. No. But he like made the choice. He was like, fuck it, I'm doing it this way. And it landed him the role. So in conclusion, make bold choices, be flexible, allow them to give you direction and take it and play with it. Put your work in, because it's important. Get a coach if you think that it's a big enough deal and you really feel like you need one. And just have fun with it. That's one of the rare times that an actor actually gets to do acting stuff, is when we're working on auditions. That's like the best way to hone your craft and to really dig in and do what you like to do. So enjoy it and have fun with it. The next video that I'm going to be making, I'm not really sure if it's going to be a vlog or not, because I'm kind of missing vlogging, and I might take you guys with me to an audition or something like that. But I will see you guys in the next video, regardless of if it's a vlog or another acting video. I hope that these tips have helped you guys. If they have, give it a thumbs up, comment below what you liked or if you've tried any of these. So stay tuned for more acting tips, acting videos, acting vlogs, blah, 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 and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine.